Life throws a lot at us, doesn't it? Just constant pings, endless lists, rushing.
Always rushing. Yeah. Grabbing food without even thinking.
Exactly. We're just always doing, always consuming, and rarely hitting pause.
And that pace, it affects everything. How we feel, focus, our energy, our bodies, they have these natural rhythms. Time for activity, sure, but also really crucial times for rest, for repair.
And modern life just barrels right over that second part.
Pretty much ignores it, yeah.
Which is exactly why we're taking a step back today. We want to invite you to explore something that tacks into that need for a break. An intentional pause.
Right.
We're doing a deep dive into intermittent fasting.
Yeah, IF.
Yeah.
It's definitely a buzzword. Maybe feels like just another diet trend to some people.
For sure.
But the sources we've looked at, this stack of research and notes, they tell a much deeper story.
Okay.
It's not really about deprivation. It's more like returning to a natural rhythm.
Yeah.
This cycle of eating and then intentionally not eating. It aligns with how humans lived for, ages.
So we've gone through a bunch of articles, research notes, trying to pull out the core answers. What is intermittent fasting, really? How does it work? How do you approach it mindfully? And, maybe most importantly, how do you make it fit your life, your specific situation?
Yeah, that personalization piece is key. Our mission here is to extract those, crucial insights, the surprising bits, the practical advice from all these sources, basically give you a shortcut to being properly informed.
All right, let's get into it then. At its heart, intermittent fasting, or IF, it's actually pretty simple.
It is.
It's about cycling, periods of eating, and periods where you intentionally give your digestion a break.
The focus is on when you eat, not necessarily what, although that matters too, of course, but the timing is a framework.
And that timing thing, it seems to be where the first myth comes up in our sources. The idea that fasting is just starving yourself.
Right. And they really push back on that. Starvation is, harmful, unintentional lack of food over time. F is different. It's controlled. It's intentional. It's designed to actually support your body.
It's not like hitting the panic button for your body.
It's not at all. Think about our ancestors, right?
No
147 grocery stores.
No fridges packed with snacks.
Exactly. Eating was cyclical, feast when food was available, fast when it wasn't. Our biology literally adapted to handle both. It's kind of built in.
And this isn't just ancient history, is it? The sources mention it across cultures.
Oh, yeah, for thousands of years. Spiritual practices, medicinal uses, purification, fasting shows up everywhere. It's only more recently that science has started to catch up and give us the why.
Explaining the metabolic benefits, the cognitive stuff.
The cellular benefits, yeah.
Yeah.
Understanding why these natural cycles are so powerful.
So it's like taking this ancient practice and layering on modern understanding. Now, one thing that came through loud and clear from the sources: AVID is not one size fits all.
Absolutely not. It's super flexible, very personal. The real benefit comes when you find a rhythm that works with your life, your energy, your own goals.
Okay, so the popular methods they describe, they're more like templates, starting points.
Exactly, like the 16.8 method. You hear about that one a lot.
Right. Fast for 16 hours, eat within an 8-hour window.
Yeah. For many people, that just means skipping breakfast, having lunch around noon, finishing dinner by, say, 8 p.m. It slots in surprisingly well for some lifestyles.
But maybe not for everyone.
No. And that's okay. For someone just starting, or maybe someone more sensitive, something gentler like 12.12 might be better.
12 hours fasting, 12 eating. So basically just stretching the overnight fast a bit.
Yeah, it's a smaller step. Then you've got the 5.2 approach, which is structured differently.
How does that work again?
You eat normally 5 days a week. Then on 2 days that aren't back-to-back, you cut calories way down, like 500, 600 calories.
Okay. So it's less about daily timing, more about weekly calorie cycling.
Right. And there are others too, like stop eat a full 24-hour fast once or twice a week, or alternate day fasting.
Wow. Lots of options.
The main takeaway from the sources is that the best one, it totally depends on your schedule, your social life, how much energy you need day to day, how you feel.
Because life isn't static, right? Your body isn't a machine.
Precisely. Stress, sleep quality, a tough workout, hormonal shifts, they all play a role in your hunger and energy.
So you might need to adjust.
Definitely. The sources really emphasize honoring that variability. Maybe a shorter fast on a crazy, stressful day. Right. Maybe more flexibility on the weekend. It's less about rigidly watching the clock.
And more about tuning in, listening.
Yeah, exactly. Tuning into your body, your internal signals like, is this real hunger or am I just bored? Do I have steady energy or am I crashing? Am I focused or foggy? sleeping well.
Those are the real guides.
They are. If a certain fasting window consistently leaves you feeling dizzy, super irritable, just drained, that's your body saying, hey, let's adjust this.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me in the sources.
No.
What's actually happening inside during that pause? It's clearly more than just resting the gut.
Oh, way more. Some profound stuff kicks in. One of the big ones is autophagy.
Autophagy. Heard the term. Sounds scientific.
It is, but think of it like your body's super smart recycling and repair crew.
Okay.
During fasting, usually after about 12, 16 hours or so for many people, your cells literally start breaking down and clearing out old, damaged parts. Misfolded proteins, worn-out organelles, general cellular junk.
So it's not just resting, it's actively cleaning house, like a cellular reset.
Or targeted reset, yeah.
Yeah.
Getting rid of the faulty bits that could accumulate and contribute to aging and disease down the line.
Wow.
And the science is linking robust autophagy to improve cell resilience, better immune function, maybe even protection against neurodegenerative diseases, supporting longevity. It's fundamental.
That really elevates the idea of the pause. What else is going on?
Inflammation reduction is another big one. We hear so much about chronic inflammation being this sort of silent damage dealer in the body.
Right, linked to so many modern health issues.
Exactly. And fasting seems to help calm that down. Giving your system a break from constantly processing food allows the immune system to kind of dial back. Studies show reductions in key inflammatory markers. It helps quiet that internal fire.
So the pause helps the body shift from constant processing to maybe healing.
In a sense, yes. And then there's the hormonal piece. This is huge in the sources.
Correct. Hormones.
When you're not eating constantly, your insulin levels drop significantly.
Which is good for blood sugar, but also...
It signals your body. Okay, time to burn stored fat for fuel. But here's the really cool part. At the same time, human growth hormone levels tend to surge.
HGH. Why is that combination important? Low insulin, high HGH.
It's this synergy that makes fasting metabolically different from just cutting calories. You're primed to burn fat. Well, the growth hormone helps preserve muscle tissue and supports repair.
Ah, okay. So fat burning and muscle sparing.
Exactly. That hormonal shift contributes to more stable energy, better appetite control, maybe even more effective changes in body composition compared to just eating less all the time.
That hormonal harmony sounds key. And you mentioned mental clarity earlier, too? People report feeling sharper.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of anecdotal reports, and the sources suggest links to steadier blood sugar thanks to the lower insulin, but also potentially the brain using ketones for fuel. Some people find ketones provide a really clean, stable energy source for the brain. Less fog, more focus.
It kind of encourages being more present with your body's state, too, doesn't it? Instead of just reacting to cravings.
It does. Which brings us back to that crucial idea of tailoring this. Because the benefits are there, but listening is paramount, especially the sources highlight for women.
Right. Tell me more about that. The sources dedicated specific attention here.
They did. Because women's bodies are governed by this really complex dynamic interplay of hormones, estrogen, progesterone, thyroid hormones. Hormonal balance is often delicate, especially around perimenopause and menopause.
So fasting is a more nuanced approach.
Absolutely. It can be supportive. Improving insulin sensitivity is great for hormones. Reducing inflammation helps. It can aid weight management, maybe even buffer stress a bit. These are real potential pluses.
Okay, potential benefits, but there are warnings too.
Strong warnings, yes.
Yeah.
If fasting is too aggressive, too long, too frequent, or combined with too low calorie intake or high stress, it can disrupt hormone production.
How might that show up?
Irregular periods, or losing them altogether in premenopausal women. It could potentially impact thyroid function, slowing metabolism, or worsen menopausal symptoms, hot flashes, fatigue, sleep issues.
Wow. Okay, so it's a real balancing act. How do the sources suggest women navigate this?
Flexibility and listening. Deep listening. Some sources talk about cycle syncing for women who menstruate.
Adjusting fasting based on the cycle phase.
Yeah, maybe longer fasts are fine in the first half, the follicular phase, but needing shorter fasts and more fuel in the second half, the luteal phase, aligning with those natural energy shifts.
Makes intuitive sense.
And generally, the advice is often for women to start with and maybe stick to shorter fasts, like 12, maybe 14 hours, not jumping straight into 18 or 20 hours.
And paying attention to signals.
Critically, unusual fatigue, feeling way more irritable than normal, sleep getting worse. Those are big signs from your body to back off, shorten the fast, or take a break.
Right.
And this stressed repeatedly, talk to your doctor or healthcare provider.
Right.
Especially with existing health conditions,
Yeah.
thyroid issues, or during perimenopause, menopause. Get guidance.
That medical consult seems non-negotiable, really. Okay, let's talk about other pitfalls. Beyond the starvation myth, what else do people get wrong according to these sources?
A huge one is the eating window free-for-all mentality.
Thinking you can eat whatever you want during that time.
Exactly. Like, I fasted, now I deserve donuts and pizza. But the sources are really clear. Nutrient quality matters. Junk food undermines the benefits. You need good fuel to support that repair process.
So the pause enables repair, but the food provides the building blocks. Makes sense. What else?
The more is always better myth. Pushing for super long fasts constantly isn't necessarily healthier. It can backfire fatigue, stress hormone spikes, hormonal issues, maybe even muscle loss if you're not careful.
Listening to your limits is key then.
Absolutely. Far more important than hitting some arbitrary number on the clock.
Any common practical mistakes people make starting out?
Yeah. Sources list a few. Trying to do intense workouts during fasting without adjusting fuel. Not drinking enough water or herbal tea hydration is crucial, both during the fast and eating window. Neglecting sleep and stress.
Those foundational things.
Right. Fasting works best when those are solid. Also, sticking too rigidly to one plan instead of adapting to daily needs. And, again, skipping that doctor chat when it's needed.
It really paints IF less as a standalone fix and more as, well, an integrated part of a healthy lifestyle. Almost a mindful practice.
That's exactly how many sources frame it. It goes beyond just the mechanics of timing. It's an invitation to cultivate more self-awareness. That pause, that break from constant eating, it creates space. Space to actually listen.
Right.
To notice real hunger versus habit or emotion. To observe your energy ebb and flow.
What other practices did the sources mention that support this?
Mindfulness, definitely. Just observing sensations, hunger, energy, mood, without judging them. Breathwork came up too.
As a tool to manage hunger pangs or stress?
Yeah, simple breathing exercises can calm the nervous system. Connecting with nature was also mentioned. Getting outside, grounding yourself, noticing natural rhythms.
So it's about building that interconnection, not just restriction.
Very much so. And hydration, always hydration. Water, herbal teas, and again, sleep and stress management are the bedrock.
Yeah.
Get those right, and fasting becomes much more sustainable and beneficial.
Okay, so when that eating window does open, and we know quality matters, what kind of foods are recommended in the sources?
Nutrient density is the name of the game. Think colorful veggies, leafy greens, fruits, quality protein legumes, nuts, seeds, maybe sustainable animal sources if you eat them. Healthy fats are vital too.
Like avocado, olive oil?
Exactly. Omega-3 sources. You want to give your body the good stuff it needs to rebuild and thrive after that repair phase.
What about gut health? That seems important.
Definitely. Sources mentioned including prebiotic fibers, think onions, garlic, asparagus to feed good gut bacteria, and probiotics from fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut.
And for steady energy after breaking the fast, avoid that crash.
Pair your foods strategically. If you have carbs, like whole grains, pair them with protein and fat. That slows down digestion and sugar release, keeping energy more stable. And keep drinking water.
Did the sources mention any specific herbs or supplements?
There were nods to things like turmeric for inflammation, ashwagandha for stress adaptation, maybe licorice root, green tea for its antioxidants.
But with a caveat, I assume.
Always. Talk to a professional before adding new supplements, especially with existing conditions or medications. Essential reminder.
And how should people approach that very first meal after fasting?
Mindfully. Don't just wolf it down. Break your fast gently. Eat slowly. Really taste it. Savor it. Tune back into those hunger and fullness signals. It reinforces that mind-body connection.
Pulling this all together, wow. This deep dive really reframes IF, doesn't it? Less like a strict diet rulebook.
And more like a flexible, personal practice, rooted in listening to your body.
Yeah.
It's a journey, for sure. It needs patience, flexibility, self-compassion. It's about trusting that inner rhythm. Your body knows what it needs when to rest, repair, nourish.
That mantra feels right. Pause, heal, thrive. It's about making it work for your life, not adding stress.
Exactly. When you find your rhythm, it stops feeling like something you have to do and starts feeling like something supportive you get to do, a foundation for feeling good long-term.
This has been incredibly clarifying. It seems the core message from these sources is that IF is powerful, not because it's about restriction, but because it brings back that intentional pause.
Allowing the body's own incredible healing and optimizing systems to work.
It's really a path towards resilience, clarity, harmony, guided by listening, balance, and mindfulness.
Finding your unique way in, that's where the real benefits lie.
Embrace that inner wisdom.
Definitely.
So here's a final thought to leave you with based on our exploration today. If creating an intentional pause in when you eat can unlock such deep benefits, cellular repair, calmer inflammation, hormonal balance, mental clarity, think about this, how else might creating intentional pauses in other parts of your life serve you? Pausing from the constant busyness, the noise, the endless scrolling or consuming, how might that help you navigate this demanding modern world?